Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Read With Me. I am your host, Kelly Michelle. This is a channel that focuses on reading together separately. So I choose a book, we will read that book throughout the month, and I will post 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, my thoughts and reflections from the assigned chapter or chapters that we read. And so our goal is to complete 12 books by the end of the year. So we have been working through May, Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. Last time we went over chapter 2, and today we will be going over half of chapter 3, pages 62 through 86. And so chapter 3 is titled Understanding and Combating Shame. And so just as a disclaimer before I get started, I am not trying to present these ideas and concepts as my own. I am just simply sharing my takeaways and thoughts and reflections and the things that spoke to me as I was reading this book. And so I want to encourage you to read as well. Chapter 3, as I stated, it is titled Understanding and Combating Shame. And here are a few of my takeaways. A sense of worthiness inspires us to be vulnerable, share openly, and persevere. When our self-worth isn't on the line, we are far more willing to be courageous and risk sharing our talents and gifts. Shame becomes fear. Fear leads to risk aversion, and risk aversion kills innovation. Number 4, shame is the fear of disconnection. And number 5, shame resilience. It's when you have the ability to practice authenticity when experiencing shame. And the one that I really want to emphasize today and in this conversation is number 2. When our self-worth isn't on the line, we are far more willing to be courageous and risk sharing our talents and gifts. And so one of the things I believe in the chapter that was talked about is that if we feel that we're going to have a negative response or feel embarrassed or feel a level of shame about whatever it might be, we'll use the example of you have an idea at work, and it could be something that could really improve, the bottom line or a particular a project you're working on or a product that the job manufactures. But if you don't have a healthy sense of self-worth, or you're dealing with shame, you might not share that idea, even though it could be a really great idea, because you don't know how it's going to be received. Maybe you feel intimidated talking to executives. Maybe in the past when you've shared an idea, it wasn't received well and you got a lot of negative feedback. Those are all things that can influence your ability to be vulnerable and sharing, and could impact you to have a level of shame. And so what that chapter 3 was saying, and that first statement was saying, is that when you have a sense of worthiness, and like I was saying in the chapter before, knowing that you are enough, and that it's not about what you do, it's about who you are just as a person, you're able to walk in a level of vulnerability and share openly because of the self-worth that you have of yourself. And so I really want to encourage you, if you have not read chapter 3, to really read chapter 3. I mean, of course, read the entire book, but read chapter 3 if you are dealing with any type of shame or want to get a better understanding of what shame does and how it presents itself in our lives. As I said, this was just the first half of chapter 3, and for the next segment, I will be going over the second half, and that would be pages 87 through 111. I always leave you with a couple of things. One, take some time to read today. Take some time to read a good book, hear a good story, or learn something new. And I haven't said this in a while, but I want to also encourage you to journalize. As you see, I always have a notebook with me as I'm reading my notes from the pages that we read or the chapters that we read. And it helps me because I can go back. As I mentioned, I had read this book like 14 years ago, quite a while ago, at least 10 years ago. And, you know, even though I had things highlighted and underlined within the book, I, forgot a lot of these concepts. But now, because I have it in a notebook, I can always come back to my notebook and reread, chapter by chapter, some of the things that really spoke to me. So I want to encourage you to take some time to write some notes down as you're reading this book. If you are really enjoying this channel, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I want this channel to blow up. I want to create a huge community of people like myself that really enjoy reading, and for us to have a huge virtual book club. Also, please comment. Tell me about some of the things that really spoke to you about this first half of chapter 3, and maybe if you have had some experiences with shame and how you were able to overcome it. Thank you so much for joining me today, and until next time, happy reading.